which will be a first for me. Already predicting that I will probably be crying. And guys, tell me this does not sound adorable. Just a hair to it. I have to read it. Hey y'all, it's Nat. I hope you're having a terrific day today. And for this video, we are going to be doing my June TBR. All right, so before we get into anything bookish, make sure to hit like and subscribe down below. And you got to tell me in the comments, what is a queer book that you're going to try and read this Pride Month? All right, so once again, May felt like it went by really quickly, but also like it dragged quite a bit. I am simultaneously so glad June is finally here and cannot believe June is finally here. But on that note, as I said in the beginning question, it is Pride Month, which means I'm going to do my darndest as per usual to try and read as many queer books as possible. And I am so excited. I also have a good few reading vlogs planned out this month that I'm really itching to start into. Let's go ahead and dive in with my obligation reads, starting at the top with my book club picks. First one is the Geek Squad pick, which is for my personal book club I host over on my Patreon. And we're going to be reading We Burned So Bright by TJ Klune. This is his most recent publication, and of course it's TJ Klune. I have to read it. However, I have been a little bit hesitant because I saw that this one was described as heart-wrenching. I shouldn't even be surprised because TJ Klune, if there's one thing he's really good at, it's ripping your heart out and stomping on it. But at the same time, sometimes he puts it back together and gives it back to you. I don't know if he's going to do that with this one because I believe it is following this elderly queer couple who ends up deciding to go on like last-ditch road trip across the US whenever the world starts ending. I'm guessing it's probably going to be pretty character driven, which I love this man's characters, so I am really excited for this. I'm also already predicting that I will probably be crying, but I'm very excited to read it along with my book club. So if you're interested, I will have a link to it in the description down below. I'll have a spoilery reading blog, and we will also have a chat breakdown in the Discord so we can share thoughts as we're reading. I am so excited for this. I'm already expecting it's going to be very bittersweet. And ironically, kind of in the same vein is also the pick for our Book Dragons book club, which I help host along with some of the other hosts from the Dungeons and Book Dragons readathon. But this book club actually runs quarterly. However, our meeting is going to be in June. So we are reading Next Time Will Be Our Turn by 𝗖cienih, which I'm really intrigued. It seems like this author really has kind of run the gambit when it comes to genres. I've only read her contemporary goofy stuff. I read the first two books in the Aunties series. I didn't read the third one. However, this one is kind of doing a dual timeline thing where we are following a young woman who I think has like a family get together. There's like a holiday, a reunion, something like that. And she ends up talking with her grandma, and the story splits to follow the grandma when she was younger and having her first relationship with another woman. Another one that I'm definitely predicting is going to have like a lot of character work going on. I'm really intrigued to see how this author does with it, especially because it sounds like it's going to be a little bit more serious in comparison to the other work I've read from her. But it also sounds really good. It kind of makes me think of like Bingo Love by T. Franklin. So I'm really hoping I'll enjoy this one. And like I said, it also feels like another novel that's going to be bittersweet. Thankfully, on a happier note, for my romance book club that I partake in person, our prompt for the month is to read a summer fling romance. And I'm currently looking at Triple Sec by TJ Alexander, which sounds like it's going to be a fun, spicy, good time. This one is actually a poly romance, which will be a first for me. It's Mel, who is a bartender and ends up meeting this queer couple who have an open relationship and initially gets involved with one of them, but eventually I'm guessing like feelings start to develop between all three. I've heard literally nothing about this, but I've heard good things about this author. I've been really intrigued to try this one out for quite some time. A friend of mine actually got me this arc, and I am nearly 2 years from when it was published, so really falling down on that. It sounds like it's going to be an entertaining time, and I'm really hoping I'll enjoy it and have something to rave about at my book club. Apart from this one, I do also have another queer romance book I'm really hoping to try and read in June because I have an advanced reader copy of it from NetGalley, so I kind of need to for the reading vlog. But that one is going to be Dearly Departed by Chip Pons. And guys, tell me this does not sound adorable. It's got a slight fantastical element because the main character is actually a spin on Hades, and he has actually been cursed to live on Earth as a funeral home director, which I just love that. And then unfortunately for him, a new florist shop opens next door, and the owner is this incredibly bubbly, super charming guy. And though initially the two end up butting heads, some chemistry does start to develop between the two of them. This sounds so cute. I am really excited for it. I cannot wait. This kind of is reminding me of Morbidly Yours by Ivy Fairbanks, which sadly I did not really love. So I'm hoping maybe this one will go better. I'm really hopeful. If I hate this, I'm gonna be so sad. Apart from that one, I do have another book that I have like barely scratched the surface of. And I know I'm not gonna finish it in May, so I may as well just go ahead and mention it here. Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I have been really itching to try this one out. I've heard that if you prefer Addie LaRue from this author's backlist, that chances are you will probably like this one more. So this one, I believe, is alternating back and forth between 3 different women throughout history. And like literally all I knew about this when I bought it was sapphic, toxic, lesbian vampires. And that's still, for the most part, like all I really know about it. But it looks like we have 3 different women in 3 different time periods. Somehow their lives start to intersect, I'm imagining. I've heard mixed things about this, which does have me a little nervous. Like I said, I've started in just a hair to it, and the writing itself already pulling me into the story. So atmospheric. I swear, Schwab just like creates a setting beautifully, and I'm already really intrigued by the character I am reading from. So I am really hoping that I will officially get this one read in June, and I'm also really hoping I'm not let down by it. Next up are 2 books from my 10 books for 2026 list, which I have not touched, and we are midway through the year. Yeah, these are the 2 queer books, and this is like the perfect opportunity for me to finally get some of these read and off of the TBR. We'll see if that actually happens. First up is My Darling Dreadful Thing by Joanna Van Veen. I started into this one like last October, and I was actually really enjoying it. I got to the halfway point, but sadly had to put it down because of a readathon. However, I'm really looking forward to returning to it. This one, we are following Ruth, who is a basically fake medium. However, she can actually communicate with one specific ghost, her spirit companion. Through one of these seances she puts on, she actually ends up meeting this woman, Agnes, who kind of essentially buys her from her mom. Her mom's not a good person. And initially, Ruth actually thinks that perhaps Agnes has a spirit companion as well, and this might be something to connect them. But Ruth's spirit companion doesn't love Agnes, and there's some complicated things that start to develop. Like I said, I was really enjoying this one. I'm very excited to return to it. I just need to pick it up and do it. I probably do remember enough to not need to backtrack, but it might be beneficial if I do. Then there is also Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews. This was one that my friend Kat picked for me to read, and I'm really hoping I will enjoy this because everything I see about this author's work sounds like it is something I would really enjoy. This is a YA horror story that I believe we're alternating between these 2 boys at a boarding school. I believe one of them is an author of like spooky stories and the other is the artist, but like over summer something ends up happening and the artist one returns back to school and just seems like very drastically changed. And for some reason, I'm pretty sure he keeps getting like called into the forest near their school. Really excited to finally get around to it. I've heard so many positive things about it. The physical version of this book is very pretty, so I am really hoping I like it, and then I will have an excuse to go buy it. Plus, it'll work for my horror bingo board, and I still have more prompts to fill in than I would like to. Oh, shoot, and last, but certainly not least, is my nonfiction book of the month. I totally forgot about this, and I knew just the book to try and read this month, Bad Gays by 𝗖cie and Ben Miller. First off, this cover, absolutely show-stopping. I believe this goes through and talks about different people throughout history, and specifically focusing on ones that were not picture-perfect examples that have previously been pushed. It's actually allowing for a little bit more nuance and discussion of these people around their identity and sexualities. It definitely sounds right up my alley. I'm really hoping I enjoy this, though I am also looking at perhaps picking up a memoir or 2 that I do also have on my TBR, like Page Boy I still need to get around to. I've also been meaning to read How We Fight for Our Lives by Saeed Jones for quite some time now. And then I did recently add Uncanny Valley by Zephyr Lazowski to my TBR, and this one definitely sounds like something I would really enjoy. All right, and on that note, that is officially it for today, y'all. So thank you so much for coming to my channel. I really appreciate it. Make sure to hit like and subscribe down below. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, of course, we got to leave the rainbow emoji down in the comments. I have links to my socials as well as a few ways you can support me down in the description. I come out videos on Monday and Friday, but until then, I hope you continue to have a terrific day. Love you. Bye.